For all of our views across Africa and the rest of the world, this is NC Continental Prime. I am Dakbo Adigboye. We begin in West Africa, where a federal high court in Abuja, Nigeria's capital, on Friday dismissed a preliminary objection challenging the competence of the Inspector General of Police to prosecute them on terrorism-related offenses. The defendants are Chime Ezebalike, Lukman Oladele, Kenneth Kpasa, and also Osiga Donald and Ochueja Thankgod, who are loyalists of the River State Governor Simialayi Fubara, are standing trial on terrorism-related charges and alleged murder. The IGP has instituted the charges against them following their alleged role in the bombing of the River State House of Assembly in October 2023. When the charges were read to the defendants, they all pleaded not guilty. Now, police authorities in Lagos State say the restriction of vehicular movement in the state owing to a by-election is only limited to the Surulere axis of the state, where the exercise for a federal constituency seat is taking place. The Inspector General of Police, Kayode Egbetokun, had on Thursday imposed restrictions on movement from 12 a.m. to 6 p.m. in areas in 26 states of the Federation where the by-elections and run-up polls are set to be held on Saturday. But while providing further clarification, the spokesperson for the Lagos State Police Command, Benjamin Hundeyin, said the restriction only applies to Surulere area of the state, while the poll is expected to take place and not all parts of the commercial city as speculated in some quarters. The vacant seat left by the former Speaker of the Federal House of Representatives, Honorable Femi Gbajabiamila, is one to focus on as residents of Surulere go to the polls. Our News Central's correspondent Bernard Akede paid a visit to Surulere ahead of the election and filed in this report.
After about 20 years in the Federal House of Representatives, representing Surulere 1 federal constituency, Femi Gbajabiamila seems to have left a huge legacy, according to his supporters.
He has done a lot for Surulere. Is it the road tie we want to talk about? Is it the hospital? Is it a lot of things? I don't know Femi Gbajabiamila has done to us. Is much.
We have street lights everywhere, painted schools, teachers have laptops, schools have ICT centers. Literally, look at Shita, look at all the estates that we have, Lagos State estates. The Chief of Staff has done quite a lot for us.
From Randall Avenue to Akerele, Alhaji Masha, Shita, Aguda and beyond, the former Speaker's footprints are obvious. He so dominated the constituency that the presence of any opposition was hardly felt. As attention now turns to those running for this vacant seat, the question is, will the candidates be able to fill his enormous shoes?
Light issue is giving us problem here. We have like 2 streets there, or 4, blackouts since all these over 1 month now. And we are pleading. They don't have, the transformer as bad now.
Akwai matasa da yawa wanda ba su da aikin yi, ka san in ka bar mutum ba aiki, abin da nan gaba zai yi ta'addanci ne. Don saboda haka muna encourage din mutanenmu su fito su yi abubuwan da gashi nan mutane suke so su zaba, wanda zai sun san cewa zai ci gaba da yin aikin da mai gidanmu jagoranmu ya tsaya a kan.
Roads, streetlights, power supply, hospitals, recreation centers, and so on. His supporters believe his achievements supersede anything the opposition can achieve, and the only way forward for Surulere will be for his successor to come from the same party.
I'm sure and I'm certain that Kayode Lagoda will take off from where the Chief of Staff has stopped, because if you look around Surulere, barely would you find any bad road. We have good roads, amazing roads that is even affecting rents. People have started increasing their rents because of infrastructure.
As the people of Surulere go to the polls to elect their representatives at the federal government level, and of course the people of other parts of the country, they're asking for 2 things now: that they have accessibility to their representatives, and that their representatives be accountable to them when they get to the federal level. In Lagos for News Central, I'm Bernard Akede.
To further discuss this, I am joined by the global president that's ready to lead Africa. God bless Otubere. Thank you so much for your time. God bless. All right, God bless.
Thank you for having me.
Great. I mean, interesting time, you would say, tomorrow in many parts of Nigeria. In terms of, will I call it the atmosphere, particularly from the angle of the voters, do you see a situation where we have a massive turnout in terms of a voter, reaction to tomorrow's event in the states that will be voting, or do we experience a state of voter apathy due to what, of course, the fallout of 2023 elections?
Well, like we've been observing, and our people that we've deployed across the countries and our state leaders who are observing the process in states where this by-election and off-cycle election is happening, is that we do not foresee huge turnout tomorrow, and that's largely also because of what has been happening within the main national economy, the issue of security, the issue of economic downturn, unprecedented inflation that has really affected our way of lives and the quality of lives of the average Nigerian. So we do not envisage high voter turnout. Again, because it's an off-cycle election that is happening at a time that a lot of people are just trying to see how we can settle in. We just came out of the whole litigation in the country, with especially the presidential election and some of the governorship election petitions that have been decided by the Supreme Court. A lot of people have come out of that, election season. So we do not envision high voter turnout. But of course, we will see very little movement and an idea of people trying to vote, especially in the Surulere area, with the seat of Femi Gbadebamila up for grabs. And of course, he leaves a very strong reputation in Surulere. And of course, with your reporting there saying it will be difficult for someone to fill his shoes, whether they're coming in from his party or from another party. That's something else. But so we're also looking at the possible movement in that area, and especially Gaydam, Senator Gaydam, and some of the other people, Umahi in Ebonyi, and those people they have seats that are currently being coveted by the opposition, and maybe we can see the movement. But generally, across the 26 states, we do not envision fantastic turnout of voters.
All right, you talked about Surulere in Lagos State. Are there particular states to look out for, during this off-cycle elections?
Well, yes. Like I said, Ebonyi is one of them because, they have a very strong opposition present in Abia as well. So that will be, highly contested. But of course, Umahi has a record of performing in his senatorial district, which I believe he would also want to be heavily involved in delivering to someone from his current political party. Also, we definitely are going to be looking at states in the north where you have all of these elections also happening. Of course, Tunji Ojo's state as well. That's another area that we have to be looking at. But one that our eyes are really, the ones that we're really looking at that has made national headlines definitely are Femi Gbadebamila's, Honorable Femi Gbadebamila's seat, and of course, David Umahi's, because of course, these are now people who are working with the president, one as the chief of staff and one as the minister of work. So those are like states that we're really, focusing on right now, that we believe we have some, some movement and activities that may just attract a lot of attention.
All right. Let's talk about the aspect of the political parties themselves in terms of conducting themselves to ensure that they are ready for tomorrow, and also the role of the umpire, talking about INEC. How prepared do you think they are, particularly when it comes to takeaways from previous elections that, they organized recently? I'm talking about 2023 elections and, of course, other issues that came up as a result of that particular election.
Again, INEC continues to assure and reassure Nigerians that it is improving its work and its ability to conduct credible and fair elections. Again, like we noticed and like we said during the off-cycle elections that happened in Kogi, Bayelsa, and Imo, what we told Nigerians was, watch what INEC does, and then we can judge INEC, because INEC has lost a lot of credibility over time because of the way elections have gone. Of course, when you look at the variables that have upended or affected INEC's capacity to organize credible elections in the past, we tried to solve some of these challenges with the Electoral Act that said give INEC his money 1 year to the election, and we thought we would see that change in the 2023 elections. Of course, there were other things that affected INEC's capacity to conduct credible elections. The politicians are there, the political parties are there. You have non-state actors that also impact INEC's capacity to conduct elections well. So in terms of logistics, now we see that INEC is reporting that sensitive materials have left their rack centers and they've gone to designated polling units. And we would see that as we monitor, rather as we observe the process tomorrow, in terms of when did poll open and when did polls open and all of that. So I cannot categorically say here that INEC is ready. Looking at 2023, there is still a lot of logistical challenges, which we've mentioned to the commission through our interactive sessions with the chairman and the top leadership of the agency every now and then quarterly that we meet with them, how they can improve on logistics, how they can improve on manpower training, and ensure that those who work in INEC are people who understand the deliverables of INEC and are committed to ensuring that INEC delivers. So they have also seen some of the internal challenges that they're having, and I hope that tomorrow it will be better, for Nigerians.
God bless Otubere, Global President, ready to lead Africa. Thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much for having me again.
All right. Now to security matters. Heads of security agencies in Abia State say they are working towards combating the rising cases of kidnapping and other forms of crime in the state using modern technology. Addressing journalists at the end of the State Security Council meeting at the country home of the governor in Mvosi in Simialayi local local government area of Abia State, the police commissioner said the agencies are collaborating effectively to achieve success. He said already the government has commenced the installation of security cameras around the state to make crime fighting easier and precise. It disclosed that the meeting, which is presided over by Governor Alex Oti, comprehensively evaluated the security situation in the state.
The situation is stable. The situation of security has improved. Notwithstanding the fact that of recent we had some pockets of issues around kidnapping. But then we sat down, brainstormed, and all I can say with regards to the security going forward is that by the time we come out with the measures that we've discussed there, we will still move in leaps and bounds regarding improvement.
The Human Rights Writers Association of Nigeria has issued a 48-hour ultimatum to the Nigerian police force to release a detained Lagos businessman arrested and detained by the police following alleged instructions by the Inspector General of Police over a land dispute. Uriwa, while speaking to newsmen in Abuja, says that the action of the police chief is illegal, a flagrant disregard to the laid-down laws, and an infringement on the rights of the accused. The national coordinator of the association also called on President Bola Ahmed Tinubu to commence investigation into the issue, saying the action is a clear case of land grabbing using the power and authority of the police to perpetrate the act.
Had issues relating to abuse of power by the IGP. And we want the president to call the IGP to order immediately. Under no constitutional provision is the office of the IGP permitted to arbitrarily detain a citizen beyond what the Constitution calls reasonable time. We are demanding the immediate release of this citizen. We are giving the IGP an ultimatum of 48 hours, or we will organize and mobilize the civil society community in Abuja to stage a protest to the office of the IGP.
He needs to brace up in his policing, because I don't think we have had IGPs and we have not had cases like this where citizens are detained for more than 2 weeks for offences that are bailable, for offences of misdemeanor, for offences that are sub judice, for offences that are already investigated by the same unit under the IG, and persons under the IG are still detaining citizens.
More than 7 months after the implementation of a new foreign exchange regime, this managed float by President Bola Ahmed Tinubu's administration of the naira has yet to regain its value. The consistent free fall of Nigeria's national currency has left many wondering if the central bank has lost control. In this report, Perpetual Fasumi Peter highlights the hopes and fears of Nigerian business owners.
Told that the rate dollar is now 1,600. It's so barbaric, very bad. I don't know what to do. I don't even know where to go. In fact, before, if I want to go to market, I would be happy that, yes, I want to go and buy things to sell and I will make gain. But these days, my heart will be panting that if I get to market, the money will increase. So it's very bad. They should do something about it, because this can lead to depression. And from depression, it can lead to death.
Because now you just saw on the news that they've increased the cargo rates. So that's another problem, because now those who have cargo already in Nigeria, they can't clear.
This has been the plight of many businesses in Nigeria, as the expected unification of Nigeria's exchange rates continues to prove either elusive or counterproductive. On Monday, January 29, 2024, the naira closed at 1,348 against the greenback after the FMDQ Security Exchange reviewed the methodology used for the calculation of its rates. This marked the beginning of further lows as the naira continued to depreciate further in the official market. Furthermore, the Apex Bank has issued circulars to authorized dealers and commercial banks on financial market price transparency, warning them against engaging in sharp practices.
The blame has to go to the regulators themselves, the CBN, because you are the one that also give final approval for some of this bank, or for all this bank audited report. You saw those liquidity in terms of dollar savings. You didn't say anything. You woke up one morning because the FX rate has gone up. Then you begin to say, "Oh, look, bank, you're having too much excess in dollars." But again, it's a short-term measure. What I think, because all these are administrative tools to bring down the exchange rate. But what will sustain it is the monetary policy decision that you are going to make.
It is no news that the Central Bank of Nigeria has been intervening in the forex market in a bid to manage liquidity. After paying several backlogs amounting to north of $2 billion in the course of 5 months since September 5, nothing seems to have changed. Now, foreign airlines insist that only a fraction of their monies have been paid, while the naira has continued to fall freely with no restraint.
Attract FX. Direct foreign investors, portfolio investors, crude oil sell, Nigeria in the diaspora, non-oil sector. You just need to find a way to attract FX. Make sure you have liquidity in the system. No investor will come to your economy where your currency is very volatile and not stable. So they want to come at a stable rate and exit at that rate, have a make profit.
Beyond the numbers and policies, the naira's fall has real human consequences. Businesses struggle, livelihoods are threatened, and uncertainty hangs heavy. As the debate continues, one thing remains clear: the decisions made today will shape the lives of millions of Nigerians for years to come. In Lagos, for News Central, I am Perpetua Fasami Peter.
Stakeholders in the pharmaceutical sector in Nigeria are calling for the creation of a 600 billion naira pharmaceutical manufacturing development fund at a 5% interest. They said this will boost local manufacturing and reduce pressure on importation. They also want waivers on import duty for local manufacturers of pharma machinery, equipment and accessories to drive the growth of the industry. Now, News Central's Adeshawa Udushoga tells us more.
Nigeria is an import-dependent country, and businesses here depend on the dollar to purchase goods from their foreign manufacturers. Now, dollars are scarce in the forex market. This is forcing the naira to lose value by more than 90%. It has become difficult for import-dependent businesses to thrive. One such business is the pharmaceutical industry, which is also import-dependent. There is an increase in the price of medicine in the market.
For some of us that are privileged to work for a brand, there is some form of HMO that they subsidize. So with that we can leverage and we are able to to stay afloat. Most especially when after this there's this GSK company that they have hard time in Nigeria. Their product is on the hard side, and they have I think they produce most of the drugs that we can buy in pharmacy. And now I think they are pulling out. So all their drugs like Augmentin, they have skyrocketed.
As a result, stakeholders in the pharmaceutical sector in Nigeria had an engagement with the coordinating Minister of Health. The stakeholders called for special priority to access forex at rates that will moderate the final cost of medicines and other healthcare commodities.
The pharmaceutical industry is heavily import dependent, like you know. Put from the raw material to the packaging material to the finished products, all are imported. And therefore, this makes our industry highly at risk.
The minister attributed the global increase in the cost of pharmaceutical products to the shortage of active pharmaceutical ingredients globally. He also assured that the government will create a favorable environment for local manufacturers to thrive.
The President has directed an executive order to be developed, which will begin to which will lead to actions that will reduce the barriers to local manufacturing, will enable the industry to thrive. And we expect that to also, over time, reduce the cost of pharmaceuticals.
As part of their demands, stakeholders in the pharmaceutical industry are asking for the creation of 600 billion pharmaceutical manufacturing development fund at 5% interest, over a minimum of 7 to 10-year tenure to support the local production of active pharmaceutical ingredients, vaccines, critical supply chain intervention, and research and development, among others. In Lagos for News Central, Adeshawa Odushoga.
The Domestic Violence and Sexual Assault Agency of the Lagos State Government organized a strategic engagement with distinguished traditional rulers within the state to escalate collective action to curb violence against women and girls in Nigeria. Now, News Central's Bettina Mwedi tells us more.
In Nigeria, traditional and religious leaders have been at the forefront of the abolishment of harmful practices, including the money wife practice in Ebonyi, southeast Nigeria, abolition of female genital mutilation in Osun, southwest Nigeria, and the pronouncement on deposing of leaders found to harbor perpetrators and hide cases of SGBV in Sokoto, northwest Nigeria. Studies reveal that traditional and religious leaders play a central role in addressing harmful gendered norms and practices and could act as gatekeepers to enact meaningful social shifts in addressing sexual and gender-based violence and eliminating harmful practices.
In my area, it's not that too rampant, but once in a while, when they brought those children or those adults to my attention, I called on my chiefs and would sit down and try to manage it.
My domain is actually really very porous. We have cases of such almost on a daily basis, but I never knew this kind of agencies exist that I would have channeled my concern to. In most cases, we usually call the divisional police station covering my kingdom. And I come to realize that most of the people that commit this kind of acts are always kind of the powerful in the society, or probably they have backup of the powerful people in the society, so they go scot-free in most cases.
The objectives of the session included deliberating on the role of traditional rulers in collectively shifting norms that perpetuate gender-based violence and identifying avenues for effective prevention, response, and sustained investment.
What we expect from traditional rulers is we want them to play that role, amongst which is protect the community, eliminate things that are bad. Yeah, some of them cultural, some of our cultures are very good. But here comes the time when let's go over some of those cultures. The bad ones, let's take them off.
Traditional rulers are in a strong position to work with their communities to address the harmful cultural practices that perpetuate negative gender norms and harm women and girls' health and safety. Working with rather than against traditional leaders in Nigeria is crucial to ending violence against women and girls and promoting women's empowerment. In Lagos for News Central, Bettina Nwili.
The shipping industry in Nigeria is increasing its support for the global effort to combat climate change. It's doing this by moving towards decarbonization. Seafarers' voices and actions are key to ensuring a just energy transition to a zero-carbon future. Seafarers have always played a critical role in helping to protect the health of the ocean and planet, and that role is increasingly becoming more important. Every day at sea, they help to enforce the International Maritime Organization's environment-related treaties by implementing rules on garbage, sewage, and air pollution prevention.
We have a situation whereby our owners, our ship owners, they tend to ridicule the indigenous seafarers, okay, believing much in these foreigners, right? But we have the other countries coming in now, like Saudi Arabia, taking seafarers from Nigeria to work within their coast.
The same seafarers that,
the same seafarers that you are rejecting,
wow.
The same seafarers that you are passing derogatory comments on them. Now they are working in Saudi Arabia, earning hard currencies. So when you look at the same thing that happened in the medical line is actually happening in the seafaring line right now. Nigeria is losing, they are losing the seafarers.
Their workforce.
They are losing their workforce. There's a serious, there will be a time that the seafarers they will have shortage of them.
Find out more about seafarers seen as the ocean's unsung heroes and the most important component in the global shipping value chain. You can watch a Maritime Radar on Saturday at 7 p.m. with a repeat on Sunday at 1 p.m. on News Central TV. Now, civil society organizations in Nigeria have called on Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso junta to return to the economic community of West African states. The organizations also urged the junta to map out modalities for the entrenchment of democratic governance in these countries, while calling on ECOWAS to withdraw stringent sanctions on Mali, Niger, and Burkina Faso. At a press conference, the Executive Director, Civil Society Legislative Advocacy Center, Awal Mohammed, said that they noted with dismay the events surrounding the Economic Community of West African States and the recent announcement of the withdrawal of the Republic of Niger, Mali, and Burkina Faso from the regional community of states. The news continues in Central Africa, where several people were injured on Friday after two explosive devices fell on a primary school in Mugunga, a peripheral district of Goma, the capital of the North Kivu province in the Eastern Democratic Republic of the Congo. The provisional report said some of the injured are in critical condition and have been taken to surrounding hospitals as the school building was destroyed by the explosions. Since last week, at least 3 people have been killed in 3 explosions against civilian households in the town of Sake, located a few kilometers away from Goma. Fighting between the DRC military and the M23 rebels have raged near Goma over the past weeks. The United Nations World Food Programme on Friday appealed for $540 million to help 6 million people displaced by conflict in the Democratic Republic of Congo. WFP said it had to embark on an extreme prioritization, leaving millions of vulnerable people without food assistance as needs continue to outpace available resources in the DRC. The United Nations Office for Humanitarian Coordination said last September that at $2.25 billion required of the Congo's displaced, only $747 million was available as at mid-August. Now, Eastern DRC's Ituri, North Kivu, and South Kivu provinces have been plagued by deadly violence for nearly 30 years. In East Africa, Ethiopian lawmakers on Friday extended a state of emergency in the restive northern region of Amara, where fierce fighting had erupted last year. Ethiopia's second most populous region was rigged for months in 2023 by clashes between Ethiopian military and an ethnic Amara militia known as Fano. The government of Prime Minister Abiy Ahmed imposed a 6-month state of emergency in August, giving the authorities sweeping powers to arrest people, impose curfews, and ban public gatherings. A resolution to extend the measures was approved by a majority in the House of People's Representatives on Friday, with only 2 votes opposed and 3 absenteeisms. Now, victims of a huge fire in Nairobi are being treated at Mama Lucy Kabiki Hospital. Now, after a truck laden with gas canisters exploded in a densely populated area in the Kenyan capital. Some of the persons who narrated the horrible experience said they had an explosion and stepped out of only to see a big ball of fire in the air. A truck laden with gas canisters exploded in a densely populated area of the Kenyan capital, setting off a huge blaze that killed 3 people and injured 280. The blast occurred in a residential area in the southeast of Nairobi, ravaging many properties and vehicles and sending local residents running for their lives.
Nasikia mlipuko, unalipuka. Sasa wakati nimetoka nje, moto niliona ni moto, ni wingu la moto ulikuwa hapo nje. Baada hapo sasa nikaanza kutoroka ndio moto ukatushikia kwa barabara. Wakati huo kuna ile mlipuko mkubwa ulikuwa umetokea juu paka moto ukakuwa juu ya hewa. Sasa hata ile moto ulituchoma ni ule uko juu ya hewa, si chini.
Kulingana na vile nasikia katika hiyo kampuni ya gas, nilisikia kuna ngali ilikuja na hiyo mitungi ya gas ikukuwa na leakage. Na wakati mwenye hiyo ngali alikuja start ngali akitaka kwenda, ndio niliona kulingana na vile najua, nikaona moto imetokea.
Siwezi jua wenye walifariki, lakini kuna nyana wajua kama 2. Kuna rafiki yangu mmoja tunafanya kazi naye buchari. Bibi alifariki na mtoto wake hapo. Basi kuanzia hapo mimi nilibebwa.
And that's a wrap on the news at this time. But before we go, let's take a look at some of our top stories. We told you that the federal and state legislative by-elections to hold in 26 Nigerian states on Saturday. We also told you that several have been injured as explosion hit Goma in DR Congo's east. And finally, we also told you that Ethiopia lawmakers have extended state of emergency in restive Amara. Don't forget to send in your eyewitness report to this WhatsApp number on the screen. You can also follow us on socials. We are at News Central TV. You can watch us live on DSTV channel 422, Star Times channel 274, Abo TV, and YouTube. Many thanks for watching. I am Dakbo at Digboyi.